The Invisible College, a Witch Punk podcast, written and narrated by Erkala of Witch Crew. The Temple of the Storyteller smells of cinnamon. Burning incense cones cause a scent like autumnal electricity to trace a cobweb staircase to the icy heavens. It burns in the temple always, a tribute to her favorite story, the first she was given. But this is not the story she gives you, as the spell which haunts you is imperative. Stories are weapons, she says, as you sit, patient but anxious, on the embroidered cushion between you and the cold ebony floor. The story of the cinnamon is a child's plaything, she says, dear to me, but for you it has no power. Before you can ask her your next question, she turns to you with a suddenly ragged gracefulness like a drunken swan and casts her dice on the floor. As the dice move about, you consider the reason you sought out this place and this ogress of light, keeper of stories. Stories that create and destroy, stories of terror, power, and error. A tension fills your bones like the feeling in the air before a storm. You think upon the crisis which drove you to sacrifice everything to find her. You look back on what it was which brought you here. The dice are still moving, and she's sitting across from you, smoking a cigar, her ancient vulpine face contemplating you, assessing you with eyes like amber embers. As you begin to fit the pieces together, you look at her, and she smiles with amusement. You cannot remember what tragedy brought you here, lovey, she says, in a voice both sultry and husky, because every tragedy brought you here. How is that possible, great one? She says nothing, takes another drag of her cigar, reads the runes cut long ago in the dice's ivory. This old vixen was joking. Certainly the reason you were here was because of the sickness in your village. You traveled for more moons than you could remember to the place where the sacred moss grew. You sacrificed everything to the strange one so that the moss would bring you visions, visions that would take you here so you could understand how to save your people. No, that's not it. There was no village. It was 2030. You'd done all your heroin to finally end it all. No more dreams, no more nightmares. But you'd ended up in between. Your body was in a whirlwind of people in white masks and blue gloves. There were bright lights and cold machines. Death was so much harder than you expected. No. She interrupted your thoughts again, in her usual foxy manner. Or perhaps it was the drought, or the invading armies, or the locusts. I told you, you silly child, what brought you here was every tragedy, in every world. Before you could again express your confusion, she showed you a card. Apocalypsis, it reads. Above the words, there's a sigil, rather than an illustration. The sigil gives no singular meaning to fixate on. You've never seen it before, this mysterious array of lines and circles, and yet it fills you with dread. Wherever you've come from, you've learned that things begin and end, and that's the way of things. It's true, but if that was all there was to this, you wouldn't be here. The words make no sense to your mind, but something deeper within you catches a hold of the storyteller's meaning, a weaving that could save you. Though your mind protests, your spirit takes hold of the words, and you begin to climb. The cards say there's something wrong in the universe, a corruption. She places before you the second card, the fifth glyph, in a reading of 3 dice and 3 cards. Entropy, the 5th card reads, and the 6th, fortitude. Sweet child, she says, with a sad smile. She takes your shaking hand in her fearsome black paws, looking into your eyes. You somehow feel comforted by the depths of the dark eyes of this holy monster. The path before you, in all worlds, is perilous. There is still a chance that corruption can be stopped, but you must be brave. Protect your magic, your light in your dreams. The rulers and the babbler in the dark seek these things, always. What happens next, you ask. Look, she says. You look at the dice and the cards again, and the sigils, which seem so enigmatic, have twisted into life. A story is being told. The